Hi, this is Jesse. I'm here with Coach Dowse again, episode 5 of Gilmer Sports Podcast. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jesse. Thanks.
Good to hear.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Let's jump right into it. How was it being here at Gilmer this year as your first year?
I love it. The student athletes have been terrific. They're talented. They're committed. I think we've got a community here that's supportive of our athletes. They come out and cheer us on. I think they're hungry for a winner. They've been great to us, and then our administration's been fantastic. So I couldn't ask for much more.
I want to touch on one thing right there. When y'all was going to the state playoffs, right, and you had the people on the side of the road handing out Gilmer, what did that mean to you?
Well, it means a lot to me, but the journey is the kids' journey. It's the players' journey. So for them to experience that and understand that they can make an impact on their community, I think that's special to me because it's special to them. Yeah, that's a memory. We talk about making memories. You know, the ball games, the scores of these games, they're not going to remember them in 10 years, but they're going to remember the relationships and they're going to remember moments like that. So it was special.
How did the team do this season? How'd y'all do?
We did well. I think we finished 16-12 with a second place regular season finish in the region, and we advanced to the Sweet 16, which is something that girls basketball, I don't think they've done that since the 2021 season. I know last year they finished with 8 wins, so we doubled that total. Had a number of kids be recognized for all region honors, and I was very, very pleased with the progress of the program. I think we're headed in the right direction.
That's great. And something I want to point out real quick is when you was on here last time, you said this is kind of like Lumpkin when you won your state championship, how things are being changed, we're building new buildings, everything's getting swapped around. And to be honest with you, there for a second, I thought you was gonna bring home a ring there for a second.
Well, that's always the goal to start a season. We came up a little bit short, but it's a process. And we're ahead of where I really expected us to be after year one when I took the job last spring. So we're going to get there. And I told our seniors after our last game, I said, we didn't win a state championship this year, but it's coming. And when we do, they'll be as much a part of it as the kids that actually put on the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yep. How is Gilmer different from the other places you've been?
I think all of the places I've been have unique qualities. You know, I was in Gwinnett was a big school system, so you had a lot of different schools. I think you probably had 18 high schools. DeKalb, same thing. And then I started going to smaller systems like Fayette. I think they had 4 high schools. And then where I've really kind of found my niche and enjoyed it the very most are places like Lumpkin, where there's 1 high school, and now here at Gilmer with just 1 high school, where you're dealing with, you know, the same kids from elementary school through middle school through high school. It's easier to make those relationships and get to know the kids and the families. So they're all unique in their own way, but I think where I am now in these smaller school systems is where I'm happiest.
I know this is your first year, and next year will be your second year. How would you plan to work with the middle school kids that are coming up that are going to be freshmen next year?
Well, we've already started. Last June, they were a part of our summer program. We call it Breakfast Club, which basically means we're not feeding them, but they're getting there by breakfast time, and we work them out for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and they're doing the exact same skills and learning the same vocabulary and terminology and schemes that the older girls are. I have plans to work with them some in the spring, but then include them again in our June workouts, and I think that's really where we can develop that continuity, so that we're not having to recreate the wheel when they get to high school. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that process, that system, that connection's already in place.
Yeah, I know Coach Huey. She's the middle school girls basketball coach.
Yep.
Does that help having her here coaching weight training at the high school where you can talk to her about?
Well, without a doubt, because not only does she work with our student athletes in the weight room, but she's also our head volleyball coach. And many of the girls that play basketball also play volleyball. Gives us an opportunity to share ideas, to make sure we're on the same page, in the summer workouts to make sure we're not stepping on each other's toes, that the schedule that we put together is one that can a student that will accommodate students who are multi-sport athletes. So yeah, Coach Huey's great.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about you real quick. Is there any things that you had to change from the old schools and here, you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do. Well, if you've been to our games, you probably, I'm old school. That'll never change. I think when Coach Standard hired me, Coach Johnson hired me, they kind of knew that. I won't ever change, and I won't apologize for it because my job, I'm hard on those kids, but I love them, and
tough love.
and it is, but what I'm trying to do is get them to understand that they can do more than they think they can, and really, I think I've said this a number of times. Kids want to be successful. They just need a map. They need a blueprint. A lot of coaches will tell them, well, you need to work harder. Well, they don't know what that means. And you've got to show them, this is what working harder looks like. This is how you work harder. These are the things you need to do to work harder. And when you show them that, more often than not, they're going to take it and run with it. And I think we saw a little bit of that this season. They didn't really understand what their capabilities were. It's my job to push them. And hopefully that carries over later in life with them as well.
You won Coach of the Region. How did that feel?
Well, it's a very nice honor because it's one that you're voted. The vote comes from your peers, so the other 6 coaches in the region had a hand in that. That was their decision, and it's humbling because this is a really good region. We've got some really good coaches. And for us not to have won the region and to still receive the award was really nice. But it's a testament to the girls because if they're not performing on the court, and they're not winning ball games, and they're not being competitive, then the awards don't come. They don't come to players, and they don't come to coaches like me. So
speaking of that, you had 3 kids make all region, right?
I think 4. I think we had 4.
4 kids.
Jay Sanderson was selected first team. All region. There were only 5 players in the whole region. She was one of the 5, and then Eliza Chastain, and Paula Robertson, and Bree Burnett were all selected to the second team all region, and we only had 10 of those. So yeah, that's 80% of our starting lineup right there. It's pretty good.
You first came your first basketball game. What was your thoughts when you got on the court and you seen all the fans and the alumni and things like that? What was your opinion? What was your thought?
I get so zeroed in on the game. I don't notice a lot of what's going on around me. Probably should be better at it. I don't. I just wanted to see us compete, and that's kind of been our mantra all year is let's compete. There's a difference between playing hard and competing. And we talk about that a lot. I think, for many years, I think the Gilmer girls have played hard, but it was my job to teach them how to compete, how to take just playing hard and, to another level. And so I wanted us from day one to see us compete. And that again has been a process. But by the time we got to the end of the season, we were most definitely competing. Really proud of them for that.
Do you have any of the basketball players you want to point out that really stood out to you?
Yeah,
or that?
So many of them do for different reasons. I mean, I would say our seniors, first of all, Madison Bradshaw, Carly Becerra, Grace Bramlett, and Eliza Chastain, because, I'm the 3rd coach they've had in their 4-year high school career, and that's not an easy thing. We've all got our own personalities, we've got our own schemes, our own drills, our own expectations. And for them to take a 3rd chance on me and jump in with both feet has been huge, right? It helped set the foundation with their leadership and their buy-in, so that now younger girls who come along see, well, that's the way it's done, and that's the expectation. Certainly the 4 all-region players. Shout out to them for having tremendous seasons and just being great basketball players. And then I would say to our junior varsity, they finished the season 12-1. They were fantastic. But more than just being successful on the court as a junior varsity basketball team, and 3 of them, by the way, were 8th graders. They were so competitive for our varsity in practice that they absolutely made us better, and that's why I feel so confident that we're going to be better next year and in the coming years, because our JV program was solid, and those kids they really work hard. Excited about it.
And you have 3 assistant coaches on your staff.
I do.
And 2 of them are been around the Gilmer area for a while and been involved with sports.
Graduated from Gilmer High School, yeah.
How have they helped you out?
That's a good question. They've helped a lot, because obviously I'm the outsider. I'm supposed to bring the basketball knowledge and whatnot, but I don't understand all the ins and outs of the community and how things have been done in the past and the history. And Coach Barry and Coach Giles have been instrumental in kind of, helping me with that, pointing things out that maybe I didn't know. And so in addition to being great with kids and being good basketball people, that piece has been very helpful for me. Yeah, for sure.
The family side, I think you said last time it was just your wife that you live with now.
Right. My kids are all grown. Yeah.
How have they been with you moving to schools? I'm guessing y'all had to move because
we've moved a number of times, and often when we moved, it wasn't there needed to be a coaching job there, but it was what was best for our kids too. When we left, Gwinnett County to go to Fayette County, it was because we wanted a smaller school for our own kids. So that they had the ability to participate in extracurriculars, and it was a really good academic environment for them. And then, selfishly, though, we were empty nesters by the time we left Fayette to come up to Lumpkin and now Gilmer. So it is just my wife and I, but she's been fantastic. It's hard. It's hard to be a coach's wife. Because she's working from home, and then she's trying to figure out how she's going to get all the way to Adairsville or Calhoun from Dahlonega, and that's a pretty good haul. But she's always been supportive. It's impossible to do this job without a supportive family and spouse, and so I've been very, very lucky.
Yeah. And one more, I would say, hard question, but you never know with me. But is it hard to find a coaching job if you're with, the record you have?
So...
Or how would you say that to newer coaches that want to be a coach for anything? How is it hard to find a head coaching job?
It was when I started. I think we had the conversation. I thought I'd always be a football coach, and back then, when I got started in the early '90s, it was a situation where you had to pay your dues. You started off as a middle school coach, and you worked up, and you spent years as a JV coach, and then a varsity assistant. It seems now that the profession is losing good people, and I think it's probably shorter timeline to become a head coach. I don't necessarily think that's a good thing, but it's probably a fact. In my situation, because I'm semi-retired, I'm lucky because I've got a resume that I think will speak for me, but at the same time, some folks will look at me and go, how much tread does he have left on those tires, And so I'm grateful that Gilmer gave me a chance. But to answer your question, I think it's a shorter timeline to become a head coach. And until you become a head coach, you don't know what you don't know. It's easy to learn the X's and O's, but when you're dealing with people, and the coaching piece of being a head coach is really secondary to the organizational piece, the communication piece, the running a booster club piece. It's more like running a little business, and you're kind of the CEO of the business, and you've got to surround yourself with really good assistants, good people, so that you can delegate some of that, or it can be overwhelming. So that's the tough part about being a new coach. You don't understand all of that because you've not yet been through it, but you learn by being thrown into the fire.
And when you interview people, I know interviews, their first impression and all that. Coach Stanger always says you don't want to make a bad first impression.
Right.
What's one question that
I would ask if I were interviewing an assistant or
an assistant? Yeah.
That's a really good question. I think there are probably a couple of them. I think, why do you coach is one of them. I think, where do you want to be in 10 years is another one. I think the answers that I really want to hear is that, obviously you want to hear, I like basketball. I like to coach basketball, but I think I think the relationship piece, I want to hear something about the relationships and building those relationships and having an impact on young people after they're done with their sport. I think that's important. And I want to interview someone and hire someone who 10 years down the road has aspirations of being a head coach themselves. Because if they do that, then I know they're going to be workers, and then they're going to be interested in learning and not just showing up. You know, I think there are coaches like Coach Standard and many of the people we have here, and then there are some folks, unfortunately, not necessarily Gilmer, who are what I call hat and whistle guys, who like the title, but they don't like all that comes with it. So yeah.
Yeah, and you said y'all have a booster club.
We have a great booster club, yeah.
How helpful has that the people that run that? And
they've been tremendous.
Because I know at football they'll be up there probably every day right after work doing something for us.
They're constantly doing things for us behind the scenes. You know, financially. I mean, I think that's the first thing, is to make sure that financially we have ability to make sure that these kids get a first-class experience, right? From redoing the locker room to equipment to, you know, meals on the road when we're in Peachtree City or when we're on the road in the state tournament down in DeKalb County. They really want to make sure that our kids have an experience, you know, and that the memories are special. We've got a great group. Heath Thompson is our president, and we've got a number of people who work tirelessly to make that thing go. They're big, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, basketball couldn't be done, or any sport couldn't be done without a booster club.
There's a lot to it. I mean, you got to have players, you've got to have coaches, you've got to have a booster club, you've got to have parents. Our parents are phenomenal. They don't get enough credit. They're the unsung heroes because, you know, they're the ones that are the emotional support for the kids when they go home and they've had a bad day, they've had a bad practice or a tough ball game, who have to be supportive of their kids, but also the program. That's not always easy, you know, as a parent, and I've been in those shoes. So we've got great parents, and then the community.
Yeah. Do you have anything you would like to add or anything like that?
I think just that, as good a season as we've had and as exciting as it's been, and it's tough to say goodbye to our seniors. We're just getting started. You know, this is not a splash in the pan. This is not a one-time deal. We'll be back next year. We'll be competing for a region championship and to go deeper into the state tournament. I didn't come here just to have a single season of success, but rather to build a program that's sustainable. So that's the goal. We're going to get to work.
In football, I think it was the last year, Coach Dowse started this. We got a shirt that said, "One team, one town, one team, one dream."
Yeah.
And now it's on like every shirt we get. It's on the back.
That's good.
But I think that's what Gilmer is a lot of that. One town, one dream, for every sport. Not just football, not just basketball, not just wrestling.
Right.
Every place.
And it's contagious. As you know, Coach Standard's had some success. I know our cross country team had a little success. I think basketball programs had a little bit of success, and as that grows, the excitement in the community is going to grow, and it's going to be special.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate having you on here.
Thank you.
It's been an honor, and thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you.